On here. All right. Hey, friends, just getting ready to stream live here. Today is Monday. It's October 14th, 2024. And we are going to be talking about masks back in California. Yes, I'm saying the word. We are going to be looking at the order coming out of the counties. Actually, let's do a little guessing game. You tell me which area of California do you think is coming back with these? I call them the suffocation devices. Hey, if you want to wear one, go right ahead. I don't think there's any problem if you personally feel more comfortable wearing one. We also are going to look at what the FDA says about these devices and exactly how they work or not. Before we do any of that, I want to welcome you all onto this live stream. And I just need a sip of water. We are going to hear from the sponsor of today's show right away. We are going to go over to noblegoldinvestments.com. As we're doing this, I'd like you to tell me, where do you think these masks are coming back in California? Which counties, which area of California? And then I want to give you some how-tos. As always, we are live, so I do want to hear your questions and comments, and I will read them in the chat. Stay tuned because I have a special little bonus thing to share with you as well. All right. In a world of economic uncertainty that we are in right now, safeguarding your retirement savings, or what's left of it after all of the inflation, is more important than ever. People have been asking me since I've been sharing this sponsor message what I think about investing in gold. I want you to call the experts, and that's 877-646-5347. And they will tell you that gold is a trusted source of value, providing stability for centuries through countless market cycles. So if you do a gold IRA from Noble Gold Investments, you can protect your financial future with the enduring power of precious metals. The election is right around the corner. You do not want that volatility to erode your hard-earned nest egg. Even if you're not going to vote in the polls, you can vote for the timeless safety of gold and silver in 2024. For my Trump fans, there you have it. You get 10 of these 1 ounce silver coins. How cool is that? If you want to have it as a kind of a keepsake, or pass it on to others, or keep it in case you need it. And if you prefer not to get that, you can opt for this solid 10 ounce silver American flag bar with your qualifying account. So it's noblegoldinvestments.com. I'll have a link for you in the description box below, along with the disclaimer. There's always a risk of investment. There's no guarantee of any kind, of course, but get your questions answered from the experts at noblegoldinvestments.com. Friends, we are talking about the masks coming back to California. And I don't know why it's a little smoky, or it's funny talking about masks and I'm coughing. But what I want to do is take a look at your comments, actually, to see who got it right. And Rose said it's just in time for selection time. I call it ear-lection time. Yes, a little humor in these days. Todd says if he gets fired again, so be it. You know what, Todd, this is going to affect you, because this has to do with the healthcare workers. And let's see, did you tell me the county? You know what? This is all around San Francisco. I'm not surprised. I helped so many people during all of the hogwash. Let me share my screen. We're going to take a look at some of these counties. But friends, you know how it rolls out. They're going to start in these counties around San Francisco, the most liberal part of the state, where by and large people are not going to fight back. Although I have some healthy Americans that live in that area. They reached out to me in the early days of the hogwash, asking me how they could live freely without having their rights violated. That's all we ask. Free choice, right? You want to undertake that behavior, please do so, but not at the expense of taking away my freedom. That's all I ask. So you want to get a tattoo? Go get one. Imagine if your boss required you to get a tattoo. Imagine if your boss instituted a smoking policy whereby everyone had to smoke because the health department in Napa Valley, let's see, I wrote it down, Contra Costa County, Santa Clara County, Alameda County, and San Mateo County. Those all are the surrounding counties of what's called the Bay Area. Imagine your boss in the Bay Area says, well, you have to smoke now because the health department says that it reduces stress and it helps you be more productive at work. And it's your duty to smoke so that we can be more productive. Yeah, that's not okay because that impedes on your rights. And I'm not even being snarky today. I'm being really like basic because anyone who stumbles across this channel or who may have gone along with it in the beginning and then scratched their head and said, this doesn't seem right to me. I'm going to read to you the actual, again, I don't like to go for all the spin cycle. We're going to go exactly to the health orders. And I think we'll look at Napa County. Christine Wu, I believe, is the health officer. I'm not going to make any conclusions that she's Chinese. There's a lot of Chinese people in California. I have many Chinese friends. I have nothing against. Am I getting into deep doo-doo here, friends? What I do have, I have an issue with communists. I'll just say it that way. It doesn't matter to me what their ethnicity is. What matters to me is their belief and also their actions, like taking away my freedom. So I've had plenty of healthy Americans over the years reach out to me and say, Peggy, I'm just trying to live freely. I don't want to intrude on anyone else's rights, but they're impeding mine. And that's where we have to put a stop to that. So what happens is they start out by saying, oh, this is just for the employees. Okay, let's see if I get this straight. Only the medical workers have to cover their faces, not the patients, not the visitors, not the tradespeople that are coming in to fix the air conditioning or whatever, just the people that work there. Gee, how do you like them apples? So you either want to keep everyone safe, which is what they're saying, or you don't. But wait until you get a load of what the health officer said. So we're going to take a look at these counties, and then we'll take a look at the order. And then I'm going to help you with how not to go along with that if you choose not to. And then stick with me because I've got a little bonus that I want to share with you for all of my animal lovers. All right, sharing my screen. We're going to take a look first. I believe it is Napa County, and we'll see where this is just to make sure. Yeah, Napa County is right here. So this is the San Francisco Bay. So it's a little bit north. I've never actually been to Napa. I lived in Central California, the Monterey area, Carmel, beautiful. But I really never got the vibe of Northern California around San Francisco. Personally, I just never cared for it. I know a lot of people that love the city, as they call it. I never liked it. Even when I was 14 or 15 years old and we went with a family trip. Never cared for it. All right, here is, this one is Alameda County, pretty big county. So pretty much Berkeley, very, very liberal. And then we've got Contra Costa County. And there we've got just outside of Berkeley. So this also, you can see down here in this area, that is also the high tech, the Silicon Valley. Here is San Mateo County is over here. So on the coastal area, it is really one of the most beautiful areas in California, as far as I understand it, Half Moon Bay, and absolutely just communist. It's so sad how they love to take away people's freedom. So that's what I wanted to share with you. Let me cue this up. And we actually are going to look at next the order from the, well, let me do this. I'm going to read you just a quick little update from the California Insider. The California Insider is a show that I think it may have been kicked off of YouTube. I don't know, but they usually do some deep dives into what is going on in California. So should have given you a little vomit warning for the images here, but I just wanted to show you where I'm getting this. And it says, it makes a mistake. The very first paragraph makes a mistake. It says mask mandates. Drop a comment and let me know why that is an error. There's no such thing as a mask mandate. Can you come up with some other words that are accurate and truthful and more descriptive of what that means? Because no, only a judge can mandate you to do anything, and it has to be in accordance with the law. Now, some will say, well, the health officer has the authority to issue orders to keep the public healthy. Well, I would like to have the evidence of suffocating your breath, keeping you healthy, because all the evidence points to the opposite. And I would also like to have evidence that this policy, this regulation, it's not even a regulation, this procedure, this strategy, this protocol, those are some words that come to mind. I would like to have some evidence that it actually does what the county says it does, which is to prevent the spread of cooties. I'm going to go to the FDA in just a moment, and we're going to look at exactly what the FDA says. By the way, just as an aside, in the early days of all of the hogwash, when I exposed the CDC and the FDA showing their contradictory, hypocritical information, and I showed exactly on the website where it was. And then people emailed me a day or two later and said, Peggy, I went to the website. That page is scrubbed. I was trying to find this before I came online with the FDA. I'll have to go back to my BitChute or the peggyhall.tv. I think there's something in the air. Maybe I should put on the device. I'll have to go back and share this with you because the FDA very clearly had a statement on its website that said neither the N95 nor the surgical device actually prevented illness. I'll just put it that way. That's exactly what it said. It said it doesn't. Now, it can prevent splatters and it can protect you from something splattering on you like blood or some pus or something like that. But it does not, even the N95 does not prevent death, right? So the FDA had that on their website. And I also showed that in a video. And the same thing happened. They scrubbed it from the site. There's some other information that I'm going to share with you in just a moment. Let's now look at these so-called mask requirements. It says they will be returning to several counties in San Francisco's Bay Area starting next month, meaning November 1st. It's going to go all the way to April 1st, 2025. Because don't you know, cooties and the flu, they keep a very strict calendar. So we have to abide by their calendar. The orders were handed down by individual counties. How do you like them apples? They all were working together, but they all individually sent out these orders at the same time. They apply mainly to healthcare workers, although at least 2 Bay Area counties have extended the requirement to visitors and patients. I have to see which counties those are. It says a similar requirement was handed down broadly across the Bay Area in 2023 through 2024 fall through spring. So you know what they're going to do? They roll this out just for the healthcare workers, then it's the patients, then it's the visitors. And before you know it, it's going into a restaurant, going into an Uber, going to a movie theater, going to a grocery store. And that's called incrementalism. They are, I'm going to use the word grooming. Can I use that? Am I going to get dinged here on YouTube? They are conditioning you to jump when the health officer says so, as if that health officer has the ability to tell you what to do with your own individual health. Now, the health officer can issue an order. The state of California has a law that says the health officer can issue an order that stands for 7 days. Are you with me? 7 days. In the case of an emergency. So let's say, I don't know, there was a train derailment and I don't know, there were some toxic chemicals that were released into the air in California, or I don't know, there was suddenly some type of natural wildfire that erupted and certain areas were closed off to the public. The health officer, under California law, it's different in every state. You'll need to research your own laws. The health officer in California has the authority to issue an emergency warning or an emergency order for 7 days. After the 7 days, that has to be voted on by the county where the health officer is employed. And the county in California, every county has 5 representatives. They're called the Board of Supervisors. Oh, I'm sorry, I mispronounced that, didn't I? In some states, they're called commissioners or something else. But these are your elected representatives. Why we only have 5 per county doesn't make sense. It should be representational, where Orange County has more than 3 million people, and there's only 5 of these representatives. And then you have smaller counties like Santa Clara and Napa, and they have 5 people. So right there, it's not even equitable. But is it resilient? Oh yeah, I'm having too much fun on this Monday live stream. So those representatives are required by law to vote to either continue this emergency order. It's so simple. Or to not continue it. It's called ratifying it or terminating it. And in Orange County, they're still under a cooties emergency because they never legally voted to terminate it. Yeah, sorry to tell you, folks, you're still under an emergency disorder. I'm going to call it that from here on out. So, no, the health officer doesn't have the authority to restrict your personal behavior. In a public area, the health officer can say the beach is closed. That's probably a poor example to use because they closed it during cooties, but it wasn't because of some kind of contamination in the water. It was because you weren't supposed to walk outside breathing oxygen. That's illegal. Those are public grounds. But the health officer could order certain public structures or facilities or something like that to be closed or that you can't enter. They could close down the county courthouse, for example. But your own individual behavior, could the county health officer issue an order, a disorder for you to stop smoking? Could the health officer issue a disorder for you to get 8 glasses of water a day? I mean, that's coming, folks. They wanted to get rid of sodas in New York. Not that that's a bad idea to get rid of sodas, but not through laws. It should be through education. People have the right to do that if they want to. So it says health officials in counties who have issued these upcoming disorders say that the suffocation devices are designed to reduce the spread of cooties and the flu and other viruses. All right, because we know that they exist. All right, let's do this. We're going to take a look at the FDA, shall we? All right, we're going to look at a couple of things here. And I need to give you a little warning. We're going to be looking at some face coverings, not on people. I know it causes me PTSD. I did not like seeing that all those years, and I certainly don't like it now, but we are just going to look at what the FDA has to say about these disorders. So here we go. Comparing the surgical, I'm just going to call them coverings for the algorithm here, and the N95. Okay, the FDA regulates them differently based on their intended use. So we all have seen this one hanging from people's rearview mirror, in their pocket, in their purse, around their chin, because you know that's very, very sanitary. If you'll catch what they say, this is a loose-fitting disposable device. Now, I know I'm an English teacher, but if you would just drop a comment with an adjective describing, defining that word disposable, does that mean you use it again and again and again in your pocket, on your chin, wherever? No, you're supposed to use it once and throw it away. Kind of like a Kleenex. Now, I'd be happy to carry a Kleenex around. And if I have to sneeze or cough, I'd be happy to oblige my fellow humanity and sneeze or cough into the Kleenex. And then I'll do them one better. I'll throw it away instead of keeping it on my face. I think that's the best route. Here it says, not that I'm saying my coughing and sneezing has any effect on anyone. I'm just giving you an example of using a disposable device. So this is a disposable device that creates a physical barrier between the mouth and the nose of the wearer and potential contaminants in the immediate environment. These are often referred to as face masks. I can't even say it. I can't even choke it out. But they are not all regulated. Note that the edges are not designed to form a seal around the nose and mouth. Here's the N95. And it says, this is a device designed to achieve a very close facial fit and very efficient filtration of airborne particles. Wait for the punchline. N95s, you have to be fitted for that. You can't just put one on if you work at the hospital. You have to have, let me come off the screen share for a second. So if you're being required to do this and you want to get an exemption or something, you need to be fitted for this. And if your heart is racing, fitted by another medical professional who should be monitoring your signs of your being able to tolerate this or being under distress. Now, I've never undergone a fit for that. I don't ever intend to do so, but I can only surmise that they're going to be testing your pulse rate, your heart rate, maybe your oxygen saturation levels. Those would be key indicators in my mind of whether or not you're able to tolerate it. Perhaps you have claustrophobia, and let's see, restricting the oxygen and other gases, as my lovely healthy Americans like to point out. Peggy, we don't just breathe oxygen. Yeah, I know. So, but I don't want to breathe carbon dioxide because it's killing the planet, but you're supposed to breathe it now. I know. I said I wasn't going to get snarky, but I can't help it. So if you're covering your only two airways, the way that you breathe through your nose and your mouth, your nose preferably to warm the air and filter the air, guess what? It's like you have a little mask inside your nose. Yeah, it's the little hairs inside your nose. They filter the air for particles and so forth. Just saying, just saying. I'm sure there are perfect times when you would want to wear an N95. Maybe you're painting a house or cleaning out the attic. I'm not saying that they don't have a purpose. I don't understand the purpose of the general population or someone wearing one in the healthcare setting, especially if they can't tolerate it. So it goes on. So you can do a fit test. And if you're unable to tolerate it, you tell the person you're unable to tolerate it. So here's the precautions. How do you like them apples? People with chronic respiratory, cardiac, or other medical conditions that make breathing difficult should check with their healthcare provider before using the N95 respirator, because, are you with me, everybody? Repeat after me. It can make it more difficult for the wearer to breathe. And we're talking about respiratory illnesses that make it more difficult to breathe. And you want to add another layer of making it difficult to breathe. Now, what I want to do is look at the information about the actual, here we are. The N95s and the other surgical devices are examples of personal protective equipment, PPE, to protect you, not anyone else. So this whole thing about you wear it to protect others doesn't hold water, friends. It just doesn't. And the FDA says so right here. They are used to protect the wearer, that would be the person wearing it, from particles or from liquid contaminating the face. It says, for example, in certain areas where you have to do so. Now, the face devices, it's a product that covers the wearer's nose and mouth. It says, they are not personal protective equipment. Are you with me? They don't even protect you. They may or may not meet any fluid barrier or filtration efficiency levels. Are you with me, friends? This is from the FDA that YouTube wants me to believe and listen to. I'll believe and listen to them. So let's go back and look at this, because actually, I will leave all this for you, friends. Let me come off the screen share for a moment. A couple of years ago, I guess it was back in 2020, I went to CVS, and darn it, I wasn't able to upload the video. I have a video of myself in CVS, and I walk up to the display of these devices, and I take one off the rack and I turn it around, and I show you on the back of the package for the device that it says it does not protect against any illness. I'll just have to be careful here on this channel for the algorithm, whether it is contagious or infectious. It does not protect against any, they call them airborne illness. Still like to see evidence for that as well. It's on the package. Okay, having said that, and having established, these are called facts, and facts are information that can be proven and that comport with reality, unlike the fantasy land that these health officers live in. So let's take a look now at the health officer's order for, we're just going to do this. This is Napa County. All right. This is the one that's only talking about for the healthcare workers. I still have to figure out, I'll do a little more digging, figure out which counties currently are saying it has to be for the patients as well. So this is from Christine Wu. And Health Officer Wu says that actually, these are the FAQs. Here's the order right here. Hospitals, inpatient psychiatric facilities, skilled nursing facilities, just kill them off faster. And dialysis and infusion centers. Yeah, I'm sure they don't need to breathe either. Here it is. I am issuing a masking disorder for healthcare workers for a designated respiratory virus season. I told you they keep to the calendar very carefully. I'm talking about the illnesses, know exactly the dates. And this will apply to all patient care areas of the healthcare facilities set forth herein. All right. Rationale for the order. It says, while getting the cocktail against all of these things, the flu, the RSV, and the cooties, remains the best way, listen how they say it now, to reduce the risk of hospitalizations and deaths. It no longer states that you won't get whatever this invisible mystery, non-existent, excuse me, illness, you should get a shot for it, is what they say. And because that works so well, you still should cover your face, even if you have already gotten the cocktail. So this applies to everyone, including those that already lined up to put their health at risk with the cocktail. But the cool thing is, when you are in the break room or your own office or the cafeteria or the gift shop, you don't have to wear it. It's so brilliant. I love the logic that you can walk around freely, breathing oxygen and other of those gases to keep you alive in the cafeteria, in the gift shop, in the break room, and in the office, because that's where the cooties doesn't go. I think it's brilliant. I really love this kind of logic. So what I want to do is to actually help you. And if you are a healthcare worker or you are going to the hospital, I have an entire playlist with dozens and dozens of videos, instructional videos, where I go through step by step in terms of what to do to keep breathing and to keep your rights intact. Again, if you think this is fine and it's not a problem, go for it. Just don't refuse and impede other people's freedom, including those who work there. So my recommendation, the short recommendation is you tell your employer, I'll do you one better. You say, I understand you want me personally to keep everyone safe because I have this superpower of like breathing on people. So I understand that I could be killing people and not knowing it. So could you give me a list of all the people I infected over the last few years so I can send condolence notes to their family? And can you also let me know how you concluded that I was the one that made them sick? All snark aside, you let them know that you'll do them one better. And instead of wearing the device and coming to work, you can stay home when you're sick. It's the safest place for you to be. So that's the accommodation. And you can tell them that you'll carry your Kleenex around. And if you have to cough or sneeze, you'll do so in the sanitary tissue, which then you'll dispose of in a sanitary manner rather than coughing and sneezing inside this piece of plastic. Yes, did you know they're made out of plastic? You may not be in my generation, but when I was growing up, moms and dads used dry cleaning services, and there were bags that would cover your clothes. And then when they brought them home, there were big warnings on the plastic that said, caution, hazard, caution, warning, this could cause death. Do not allow your children to play with the dry cleaning bags, because, we all played with dry cleaning bags. They were such fun toys, but they took that away with those warnings, because don't you know, covering your mouth and nose with plastic can lead to death. So at your work, I would also ask your employer to produce the actual device that states that it protects you and them, all them, from these infectious diseases. Seems fair. You want me to participate in this activity? Would you please provide me with the device that actually works? It's simple, friends. It's not easy, but standing up for your rights and living by your convictions, I don't care if it's easy or not. I've been doing it for years, and many of you have as well. All right, let's do this. Before we go any further, I do want to look at your comments. I'm so glad to have you on board. So look at this beautiful little kitty. You know, I'm an animal lover. On Friday of last week, I shared more of your wonderful cards and letters that supported me in my grief and loss. I have an entire playlist on this channel about grief with many heartfelt messages for you, especially if you are experiencing pet loss, but any type of significant loss. I've got resources, books to help you. So please avail yourself to that as well. This is a beautiful little kitty cat in Orange County, California. His name is Shadow. He is a very sweet boy. He gets along with all other animals. So if you have dogs or cats, he's almost a year old, so he's only a baby. If I were in Orange County right now, I'd be grabbing him like that to bring him as a companion to Sorrow. So email us, support@thehealthyamerican.org. This is from Healthy American. We'll put you in touch. You know that I have a heart for people and pets, and I have been doing my best to bring you coverage about the rabies and other requirements that are inflicted upon our poor animals. And I do intend on expanding my broadcasting to include holistic vets coming on in interviews to tell you what you can do in terms of keeping your animals healthy and keeping them away from these debilitating, devastating practices that I believe are shortening the lifespan of our animals. So thank you. I'm still on board. I just want to take a look, reach out to us if you could give that little kitty cat a home. Or if you want a photo, you can reach out to us and we can send you a photo, and you can email that as well. So our Negron has 2 kitties, one at 3, got one at 3 weeks old. Oh my gosh, that's totally a little baby. Hugh reminds us to carry a clipboard with my helpful documents with you if needed. And I've done a video on it. It is called Don't Go to the Doctor Without This, or Don't Go to the Hospital Without This. And it is a simple 1-page information sheet. We have it for every single state. Now listen, friends, we updated that. And it is, you can use the one that you have. It's absolutely perfect. But instead of religious exemption, it just says exemption, because you're exempt. You're exempt because you need to breathe oxygen. You're exempt because God said so. You're exempt because of your own ethical and moral views. And yes, you don't need any paperwork. This is an information document to educate those that are pushing back firmly. And you can say, look at all the laws that you're violating. All of these laws protect my rights. And you want to dance? Let's dance, because I've got all the information and all the laws on my side. I actually am sick of that phrase, follow the science, trust the science, show me the science. I probably said show me the science in the early days. I don't care about the science. I care about my rights, and I care about the laws. We are not a country that is governed by science, and that's exactly what they're trying to do. So it is a type of worship of scientism, and I'm not participating in this government religion. So many healthy Americans are animal lovers. Swiss got one during the con job, and yes, Rhonda says, put cat in the subject line if you're interested, and let's get this beautiful boy a home. I'm telling you, I'm almost ready to hop on a plane and bring this little fellow back. Did I tell you that when I brought my Elsie on the plane, she was 18 years old or a little more at the time. She never meowed once. She was so quiet. She was the perfect little princess. I still am grieving those losses. Jen says she's allergic to cats, unfortunately. I was allergic to cats my entire life. I could look at a picture of a cat and my eyes would, I would get like welts. My eyes would get so swollen that I couldn't see. I literally would break out like it felt like welts all over my body. And it was unfortunate because my sister had a couple of cats. And every time I went to visit her, I had to take what is that called? A Benadryl or something like that, so that I could visit her without having this. Well, this is about, it's like 20 years ago, believe it or not, in 2004. I was doing some detox fasting and cleansing, which I really love all that. I love juicing and cleansing and healthy eating. And I was doing raw foods and all of that. If you're interested, I've done a couple of videos on this channel. Dr. Will Tuttle is not raw foods, but he does vegan. I know that's not everybody's cup of tea. And then Dr. Chari, I've had on the channel talking about detoxing also in our private webinar. But the point is that I used to do like a day of fasting every month, like every week. I would do every Monday. I would just fast and do kind of broth, vegetable broth and teas and so forth. And I had undertaken a pretty long fast with fruits and veggies, that kind of thing. On about the 10th day, I was ending my fast. I went to visit my sister. I had forgotten the pill and I didn't really want to take it because I'd cleansed my body and everything. And went to bed. I'd forgot to close the door. I woke up and her cat was in bed with me and had been sleeping with me all night. And I was amazed. I completely eliminated my cat allergies through therapeutic fasting and cleansing. Let me know if you're interested in that. I can do it all over at my Living Swell channel. Friends, I don't know if you're over at Living Swell. I think YouTube is throttling that channel as well. I used to have, I don't know, couple thousand views on my videos. I think I got about 200. Have you abandoned me? It's a great channel. It's all about uplifting information and emotional well-being and physical well-being. And I give you all my little tips and tricks in terms of what I do for healthy living. So please hop on over there if you're interested. And I can talk more about fasting and cleansing. The bottom line is I do not have any allergies whatsoever. Most allergies can, I don't want to say most allergies. Many people have eliminated their allergies through therapeutic cleansing. Of course, many allergies, unfortunately, are brought on by the pattern of the pincushion pattern over the years. It's just a fact. It's in all of the literature. So cleansing and healing could help, because it always breaks my heart when I hear that maybe somebody got married and then their spouse is allergic to cats. Like, oh, it's so heartbreaking when there are other options. At least give it a try if you're interested. Dee says, Dee, I'm so sorry. Her precious dog Philippe passed away from a mysterious dog illness. That is so Dee, my heart breaks with you. Absolutely. For all of you, support is so important. Please, when you feel able, watch some of my videos where I really sorrow with you. I'm not really on social media that much. I do have an Instagram channel, but one social media site I like is called Reddit. Let me know if you do that. Let me know in a comment if you've ever been there. They call it a subreddit, which are the categories. And there's one on pet loss. And I'm telling you, the people there are unbelievably supportive. They are caring. They know what you're going through. I literally spent hours a day reading messages on Reddit because it was the only way that I felt people understood, well, aside from my lovely Healthy Americans. But in the early days when I didn't even come on this channel, I was playing all my reruns. I was just in bed. I did not get out of bed for a week. I didn't eat, couldn't sleep. It was just unbearable for me. And reading the supportive messages from Reddit, it was like going through grief therapy. So I highly recommend it. And even in that group, people are always saying, wow, I can't believe what a great supportive group we have here. These are strangers on the internet, but people who love pets. And there are different degrees of loss. I think for some people, there are traumatic losses, sudden losses, all kinds of complicated things. The people there get it. So I highly recommend that. Jen wanted to know how long that took. It took me about 10 days, but everybody's different for the fasting. And I had been doing shorter fasts. I would not recommend doing a 10-day fast right off the bat. I started out with 1 day, then a week later, I would do 2 days, and a week later, I would do 3 days, and I would go back to 1 day. I experimented a lot. Do what feels good for your body. And I don't recommend just doing it like cold turkey, because you could be dumping a lot of toxin. I'm not an expert in this. I'm just telling you what I did personally, and it helped me tremendously. It also got rid of my sugar cravings. And this is the most amazing thing. All right. I have a little scar here, and I'm not sure if it shows up. I have a scar. Yes, I love the camera. I don't have a filter. It's just the lights in the camera. I wish I looked like this in a real life, but I have a scar here, which is quite visible. It always was visible to me for most of my life. When I was 10 years old, back in the old days, before they did like office visits and surgery centers and all of that, I had to go to the hospital for 5 days, and they removed a little tiny, it was just what they call a sebaceous cyst, like a little pea. And of course, back then they didn't have all the ways of testing it and all. And I went and had this surgery, which removed this little cyst. It was nothing, but I always had a raised scar. And I was quite self-conscious about it, especially in my teen years and mainly my teen years. And I got over it, and I figured nobody really noticed it. And I always thought, you know what, one day I'm going to have that scar fixed. I'm going to have it revised, because it was a bumpy, raised scar, not keloid scar. It did not look like scar tissue on the outside. It was just like bumpy. Get this, you guys. That long fast I'm talking about, that got rid of my cat allergies. It got rid of my sugar cravings. The reason I did it is because I had really bad sciatica. Let me know if you've ever had sciatica. I mean, I couldn't sit, I couldn't stand, I couldn't turn, I couldn't walk. I tried everything. I did acupuncture, I did chiropractic, I had a cortisone shot. I did everything. And then I came across this information, which launched my whole interest into holistic healing and natural health and all of that. And I read about therapeutic fasting to get rid of aches and pains. I did everything else. I better do this because I am in agony. On the 3rd day of the fasting, which was basically vegetable juices and vegetable broth and like herbal tea, on the 3rd day, my sciatica was gone completely after suffering for about 2 years, and it never returned. And then I thought, man, I feel really great. And I continued with it. So get this, on the 10th day, I get this intense itching on my cheek. And I think I got bit by a spider. I've got some kind of infection. It was getting bigger and red and ugh. And I said, oh my gosh, I think I have some kind of infection. So I made an appointment with the dermatologist. I went in, and she gets out her magnifying glass or whatever they wear, gets out their, not a microscope, but whatever she needed to do to see what was going on in my skin. And she plucked out a suture. This is a filament, because in the old days, they did not have dissolvable stitches. This was a thin metal suture that had been left in my cheek all those years. This was like 40 years later. This thing was making its way out by way of telling you that when you're fasting, your body is cleansing and releasing at a higher level, for me anyway, than when you're just normally eating, because you're giving your body a break from digesting food. And digesting food takes up the most energy of any system. So when you're no longer eating things that have to be broken down, you're just drinking the juices and so forth, your body can turn its energy to other ways. And so my body was cleansing and purging. She pulls out this silver filament stitch, puts it on a little, pad there and says, look at that. And I told her the story. I said, I had surgery 40 years ago, or maybe it wasn't. I don't know when it was, but it was a long time ago. And yeah, that would be about right. Isn't that amazing? And the scar is flat because it was that suture that was under the skin that was making that raised bump. That's my experience. I highly recommend it. Back in the old days, before all this cooties, when I was full-time doing Living Swell with Peggy Hall, I did all sorts of cleansing retreats. I had all different health retreats, and people would come over to the facility. You know, we were at different hotels. I did San Clemente, and I even was in Australia and in the desert, and we did whole cleansing retreats. It was wonderful. People had amazing experiences, and I even wrote a couple of programs. I had the 3-day detox was one. I've got Quit Fighting with Food. I've got How to Stop Stress Eating. So I love all that stuff. Healthy, natural living. Friends, speaking of that, I got to get off. This has been a wonderful time with y'all. And all right. If you want to find out more about this, friends, join me over at Living Swell. It's my second channel on YouTube, Living Swell with Peggy Hall. Sign up for the free Substack over there, which is livingswell.substack.com. That will be all of the health and nutrition info over there, because here we talk a little bit more about freedom, but I guess it's all related, living freely and fully. All right, friends, thank you so much for being on board. I will read the rest of your comments, and I would love for you to make sure that you're resubscribed to the channel. Tomorrow, I'm going to be live again, and we are going to talk about all of the corruption in Orange County. I want to thank all of you, and let me know in a comment if you did this. If you sent an email to the FBI telling them to investigate the public serpent, Andrew Dodo. Yes, I think that's how you pronounce it. And the FBI raided his house, and he raided his daughter's house because he gave his daughter over $10 million in our money because it was his daughter. So anyhow, the FBI is investigating that. And I want to bring you the update because it really helps encourage me to persevere, because I knew that guy was bad news from day one, in his little Masonic bow tie and his black and white everything. He just thought that he was just so arrogant and conceited and condescending. And just, I have so many videos on this channel about the Board of Supervisors. And you know, I was right. He was wrong. He's a thief and a criminal and a liar and a cheat and a serpent. That's why I call them public serpents. All right, friends, signing off for now. Be sure you're on this Substack as well, which is peggyhall.substack.com. Send me an email if you or someone you know wants to adopt that beautiful shadow. And I appreciate all of you for being on board, especially the moderators.